Ever stop to think how much those little impulse buys on your phone are adding up to, and how many subscription payments are sneaking out of your bank account every single month? Before I started using Rocket Money, let me tell you, I had no idea. But the first time I logged in, I saved $435. I couldn't believe it. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I just love the dashboard. It shows everything in one place, even the subscriptions you forgot you signed up for. And if there's something you don't need, Rocket Money helps you cancel it. Plus, it alerts you if a bill increases or if something unusual pops up in your account. It's basically like having a personal assistant for your money. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Kim today. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. rocketmoney.com/Kim.
Welcome to the Kim Commando Show podcast for the weekend of September 28th, 2024. Thank you for listening to the Kim Commando Show. Here's hour one.
Years ago, I got this call that I'll never forget. This gentleman, I think he was from Massachusetts, and he is a ghost chaser. So he wanted to know what camera that he could buy that would actually capture ghosts. And he went on and on about how this was his passion and he can prove that ghosts exist, but he just needed to have that paranormal camera. And I said, well, it's funny that you should call. I just got a press release about the spooky 5000. And you can hear him going spooky. He's writing it down, spooky 5000. And then I just started laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just making a joke. And he's like, oh, that's what I need is the spooky 5000. And I told him that he needed to lay off the booze. Now, the reason why I bring all that up is that Ring Doorbell is offering $100,000 if you can catch something spooky on your Ring camera. Not a burglar. No, they say they're looking for ghosts. It's the great ghost search. And it doesn't even have to be a real ghost. Your kid could be dressed up as one or just some weird lights flickering around. Now, the contest is open until November 1st or until they hit 5,000 entries. And I sure hope you're ready because everything today is totally a tech thing. And you're about ready to get more tech smarts. Because let me tell you something. If you are not tech smart, you are tech left behind in the digital dust. And on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kim Commando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you once again. You just tapped into the biggest show, the best show, the award-winning show that you can find on over 420 top stations across the United States. I'm streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Commando. And you can now get the Kim Commando Show as a podcast. So wherever you get your podcasts, just search again for Commando with a K. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 U.S. service members in 175 different countries. Wow. And 200 ships at sea get the Kim Commando Show. And throughout the program, I talk about some great sponsors and some wonderful deals. And in case you need those links, just hit one spot. That's commando.com/sponsors. All right, every single day I dive into over 35, 40 different sources to make sure that we are both up to date what's going on. So let's jump right in with the top 5 things that you need to know what's happening right now. And we're going to start with a war that's being waged against Israel by Hamas, Hezbollah, and Hezbollah's benefactor, Iran. Now, we see a future of electronic warfare that nobody has ever imagined. First, we had the simultaneous explosions of pagers and then two-way radios. Now it's the QR code cyber weapon. Get this. Israel airdropped hundreds of thousands of leaflets right into Lebanon. And on each leaflet, there was a conspicuous QR code. Once scanned, the phone instantly instructed to transfer all of its data to Israeli forces. Then the phone was bricked. That is, it just becomes a useless piece of electronic garbage. Suitable like a brick to throw at something. So while this war brings a very real potential engulfing the entire region, it's really something to see a non-lethal but powerful weapon that directly harms no one. All right, moving on to number 2. This story made me think about it twice, maybe even 3 times, because Sam Altman, of course, he's the CEO of OpenAI. His creation, ChatGPT, he says will soon be smarter than any person on Earth. How could that possibly be? Well, there's a problem with the logic. What constitutes with being smart? Well, you possess a lot of knowledge. And Altman says that ChatGPT has ingested all human knowledge and will be doing this in about 2 more years. But most of it has more or less been taken without the people who created it. So Much of what ChatGPT tells all of us is stolen, it's plagiarized, so the algorithm isn't smart enough to know that it's stealing and plagiarizing. Now, here's the reason why this is important. Without the ability to understand, experience happiness, joy, sorrow, grief, rage, forgiveness, compassion, empathy, it's not very smart. In fact, without all of these qualities, AI is very likely to hurt us all one day. That's soon. All right, number 3, what's the hottest new job that's just now appearing on the market? What is it? This job is so hot that corporations big and small are struggling, actually competing for applicants. And I know that some of you are saying, well, that's not me. I don't have any real experience in AI. Well, these companies are struggling to find anybody really with AI experience. But really, cybersecurity skills, if you have those, and even if you're self-taught, as they have been for just over the last 20 years, that's what the job requirements are. Cybersecurity, self-taught, and now you're going to get into AI. And if you're at a dead-end career, consider AI cybersecurity. And it doesn't even require a 4-year degree. Moving on to number 4, let's take a trip back to Tennessee for this story. That's where Melody met David on Match.com back in 2020. Everything was great. Then David hit her with some big news. He's getting married. He's moving to Alabama with his new fiance. Melody's response, I hope you both fall off a cliff and die. And she meant it. She started showing up at their house, keying their cars. She tracked the couple using that fitness app Strava. Then things really got escalated. She tried hiring a hitman on the dark web to take out David's fiance. The website she used, Online Killers Market. She paid almost $10,000 in cryptocurrency. Her request, make it look like an accident or plant some drugs, anything to avoid a lengthy investigation. The problem, the site that she used was a complete fake. The authorities got wind of it. They tracked her crypto, and now she's heading to jail for 8 years. And she kept emailing the site saying like, it's been 2 months, 11 days. Why hasn't the job been done yet? Can you assign this to somebody else? I want to speak to your manager. The Online Killers Marketplace on the dark web. Oh, gosh. Finally, number 5. Have you ever gotten attached to a robot? Sounds strange, doesn't it? But it happened to me. Let me explain. I have this little guy, Astro, Amazon's little household robot. And I had one of the early versions designed to roll around the house when we weren't home. Uses its built-in camera to recognize people and it alerts if it hears something or sees something unusual. It was like having a personal security guard inside the house that never took a break. But this past week, Amazon pulled the plug on Astro for business users. Yep, they killed the guy. And it didn't take off like they hoped it to be. And they refunded the $2,500 back that I spent. It even gives me a $300 credit towards the consumer version. But you know what's kind of weird? I kind of miss the little guy rolling around. Abby would chase him. Astro would belch or beatbox on command. It feels like I lost like this tiny little helpful companion going, Roomba, room. Ha, ha, ha. You get it, Roomba, robot. Oh, I know what to talk about. All right, coming up, we have the best TV settings for football, and we're going to talk about Google location history, how you can turn it off, how to stop the phone snoops, and yeah, a new online payment scam is spreading. And we just have the best callers ever, and you have me, Kim Commando. Okay, there's still time for you to enter to win a brand new iPhone 16. You want to go to this place, winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com, no purchase required. Just go right now, enter to win. You could be like the coolest kid on the block, a brand new iPhone 16. Just enter right now at winfromkim.com. All right, let's get started with all of your fantastic phone calls with David in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Hi there, David.
Good afternoon. How are you today? Or good morning, I guess.
Wonderful. What's going on?
Well, I like to cook, and I enjoy collecting recipes that I find on the internet. When I find them, I just print them. So as you can probably guess, I've got a big stack of recipes, and I want to try to get them electronic and in a database that I can search and then bring up the I'm going to have to scan all of these things. I don't mind doing that. Mm-hmm. But, find what I'm looking for and bring up the image. I was searching for recipe databases, and all I was finding was databases of recipes. I'm like, nah, that's not right. And I realized I should be looking at photo databases. And there's a lot out there. I'm a little confused. I want freeware. I don't want anything real fancy. I mean, I've got access. I could probably write something in that. But
I haven't heard anybody say I have Microsoft Access in years and years.
Well, the last time I actually wrote a database, I was using RBase.
Oh, wow. That's another one I haven't heard for eons.
Yeah.
All right. So bring us to today's age, not in the medieval age. What's your favorite thing that you like to cook?
Everything. I like Asian cuisines. I like all kinds of American, Cajun.
Okay, give me something
Italian.
that you've made recently, and you just sat back and you went, "Dang, French laundry has nothing on me."
I made a killer mapo tofu.
Oh, wow! Really? What's in
very
it?
Spicy tofu, obviously. Szechuan peppercorns. I use lots of red peppers. Ground pork, kind of a soy-based sauce. You know, living in New Mexico, everything has to be hot and spicy.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Well, that is amazing. You have to send me that recipe. I'd like to try that. Well, I'll tell you, you have a couple of options out there. I mean, of course, like you said, you could use Microsoft Access and do it from scratch. But what I'd like you to look at first, there's actually two. No, probably three. One is Microsoft OneNote. You can create notebooks. And so it's not a traditional database in that sense, although you still have key fields and everything like that. But you can adapt it for a recipe collection. So you can say like appetizers, desserts, tofu, whatever it may be. You can insert your scanned recipe images right into the notes, as well as a picture of your creation afterwards. You can do tags, you can search, you can handwrite, you can draw, and it also syncs across your devices. Okay, so that's OneNote. Google has something called Google Keep, kind of works the same way. And if you really wanted to do it, if you don't want to use Access, you could actually use Excel or Sheets, and then you can create a spreadsheet. But I really think if you looked at, Microsoft OneNote or Google Keep, I think that might be working. Then they have Recipe Manager, which is kind of different than what you were looking for. And so you were looking for, because you said you found recipe programs, right? Another one that you might want to look at is called Paprika. Paprika, like the spice. Okay. It's pretty popular out there. It lets you import recipes, scan your own, attach images, categories, search. Now, this one I like is because it's available about Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android. So no matter where you go, they kind of have you covered. And then the standard in all recipe is a program called MasterCook. It's been around, I want to say, for as long as RBase. Okay. So, it has pretty much anything that you want, up to and including nutritional analysis of the recipes that you put in there, which might be kind of fun for you to take a look at. But again, it allows you to do the meal planning, custom fields, attach photos, and things like that. So it really depends how deep you want to get into this. If you are just saying, I want to make it easy, I would use MasterCook or Paprika. If it's something that, it's like, I want to create my own solution, then I would look at Microsoft OneNote. And after you get this all done, David, let me know which solution that you pick, because I want to know how far you took all this. And bon appetit. This looks like a great call. Stacy in Atlanta, Georgia. Glad to have you with us, Stacy.
Hey, Kim. Thanks for taking my call. I'm such a huge fan of yours. Been following you for quite a few years now.
Yay, I love that. What's going on?
Well, my son approached me with a favor, wanting me to help him with his home improvement project, business that he's starting. Mm-hmm. He wanted me to create a website, interactive website, to gather information, I guess, from clients. And I didn't know where to start, or if there are even any resources out there for the beginner layman like I am with no coding. That's the first thing that came to my mind. I'm like, ooh.
No, the good news is, Stacy, is that you don't need to be a pocket-protected geek anymore in order to build a website. There are places like Wix and Weebly and Squarespace that provide templates. And so the whole idea is that you're going to sign on and you're going to use one of these templates, and you'll have to pick out the one that's perfect for whatever your son's business is doing, construction, renovation, remodeling, whatever it is. And then you pick the template, and then you just fill in the blanks. And what's nice about this is that it takes into consideration search engine optimization, best practices, and what I really love about it is that the template will work on if you're on Windows, if you're on Mac, if you're on iOS, if you're Android, if you're on a tablet or on a TV. Follow my drift? So you're not.
Great.
Yeah. So you're not sitting there going like, well, it looks great on my phone, but it looks really bad on my Lenovo laptop. Okay. So, it will automatically configure that, whatever it is. And but like I said, it's like fill in the blank. They call it drag and drop. And then it has forms, so you can create custom forms for quote requests, consultations. It has some e-commerce, so if you wanted to add some stuff for you guys to sell on the website. Now, there are different payment plans. Some of them will include ads on your site, so that's how they're making money, because, nothing's free in this world. And so you'll have to look at the various plans. There's like the free plan I don't think you're going to like, because the username is going to be like your son's construction company.wixsite.com. Well, we don't want that, right? So what you're going to do is get a custom domain, but it's not very expensive. I mean, you're looking at maybe $15 to $30 a month. I mean, it's like, yeah, I can do that. I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. So I would look at Wix first, and then after that, I would probably look at Weebly. Wix seems to have many more templates for you to choose from. It seems to be a little bit easier to use. I'd probably stay away from Squarespace. I know that I mentioned it in the beginning, but that seemed to kind of land itself as a place for photographers and baristas and hair salons and things like that. So give that a shot, take a look at it, and then if you need any help afterwards, and don't forget email marketing, so very important, but we'll talk about that another time. For now, just get the website up, and then once you do that, why don't you give me a call back and we'll talk about email marketing, because that is so important in businesses today. All right, so you got a new TV and you're like, I want to set it up just for football. Well, there are video settings on your TV, like Vivid, Film, Standard, and Sport. You can cycle through them, see which one that you like the best. Another way is use your eyes. Take control of your own picture settings, the contrast, the hue, the brightness, the sharpness, especially the color temperature, and then just adjust them to your preference. But I will tell you that the pros use calibration DVDs, but there are now calibration apps for your smartphones and your TVs. Check out THX TuneUp, CalMan, and Spectra CalMan. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls, as well as, oh man, there is an annoying new online payment scam spreading like crazy you need to know about here on the Kim Komando Show. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise, home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim. Do you ever get this feeling like someone's snooping on your phone? Well, I'm going to be passing along the telltale signs that you don't want to miss, as well as later on. Wow, there is a huge online payment scam that I need to warn you guys and gals about. And before we get to that, and of course, more of your wonderful phone calls, let's talk about Google's big lie. They're tracking your every move, more than 2 billion people, even when they say they're not. Now, here's the deal. Google software on both iPhones and Androids, it saves everywhere you go and everywhere you've been, even if you have turned off location history. What, Kim Komando? Yeah, that's right. Even with location history disabled, each time you open Google Maps or your phone's weather just gets an update, Google records at that very moment, and then what it does is it pinpoints your precise latitude and longitude, and then, of course, saves it all up to Google's big tech servers. So to stop all this nonsense, here's what you need to do. It's so annoying. Disable yet another setting called Web and App Activity. This comes enabled by default. What a shocker. Okay, again, you want to turn off Web and App Activity. It's just one more reason why so many of us just hate and distrust big tech. Mike in Lake Havasu, Arizona. Oh, I know who this Mike is.
Hello, Commando Central, Commando Community, Kim Commando, the whole gang. Great to hear your voice.
Well, it's nice to hear from you. And so for everybody who's like going, wait, they sound like they actually know each other on a personal level. This is the mighty Mike James. Yes. And
yes.
Mike was my tech director, my confidant. He's still my friend because you worked for us and worked with me, almost 20 years.
That's right. It was a great work environment. I loved working there. You taught me so much about business, and as you know, now I have real estate, and so that allowed me to retire and move to beautiful Lake Havasu City, Arizona, where it's about 105 today, but it's cooling down. So anyway, I wanted to ask you because I've been going to the senior center to play pool, and I wanted to volunteer at the senior center here and teach some classes to seniors about living the digital lifestyle. They're really excited about it too.
Good.
As they know my background and the wintertime here, all the snowbirds come, and so we're expecting a lot of people, but I wanted to get your thoughts on what I need to do, what I need to watch out for, main points that anything that you can help me with, because, I've never done this before.
Well, I'll tell you, the most important thing that you can teach seniors is how to avoid scams. You're not going to believe this. I spoke to a woman last week. Oh my gosh, Mike. I just wanted to go through the phone line and slap her. Okay.
Oh, man. Yeah.
She gave away to scammers $1.4 million.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Oh, my.
She got a phone call. And they said they were from Chase Bank's fraud department. And
oh, boy.
And bottom lining it, they told her that she needed to take her money out of the bank and give it to them so that this way they could protect her money.
Wow.
Okay. I spoke to a gentleman who got a direct message on Facebook. And the direct message said, you know what? My aunt is so good at cryptocurrency. And if you want to make 15 to 30% on your money, we can help you do that. So they go over to WhatsApp and then he gives them $1,000 or something like that. And sure enough, Mike, oh my gosh, in a couple of days, that $1,000 turned into $5,000. And he's like, wow. This is amazing. And they're showing him all the trades that are happening in real time. And then he starts giving him $20,000, $30,000 till he gets to $100,000.
Wow.
Okay. Then he calls me and he says, do you think it's legit? like, go ahead, try to get your money out now, buddy.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also lottery scams that are happening. And of course, we all know about the romance scams.
Yes.
I spoke to a woman the other day who was sitting on her computer and a message popped up that said, you have a virus on your Windows computer and only we can help you get rid of it. And we're from Microsoft and we're here to help. She gave them $1,700. Okay.
Wow.
Somebody else got a call from Medicare or the IRS, from the police, whoever it may be. Also, the grandparent scams. They get a phone call from, it sounds just like their grandchild saying, oh, I'm stuck in London, or worse, I've been kidnapped and they're going to kill me unless you give them money.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I was just talking to the ladies this morning about this, and that's a really good idea for our poster. We're going to put up a poster to promote the event. And you know what? That's probably the number one thing that people are worried about, right?
Yeah, because, this is their retirement money. This is what they have to live on. They're not going back to work. They only have a certain amount of dollars between now and when they don't need it anymore.
Right.
And in order to protect that nest egg, they really need to know about how to look for the red flags, the pressure tactics, the sense of urgency. these too good to be true offers. I got a call from a guy last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago now. His mother is 80 years old, and she is convinced that Brad Pitt is in love with her. Okay. And that Brad Pitt is going to give her a $100,000 Ford truck. She just has to pay the taxes first.
Boy.
Okay. So you know, I think that's the most, if you could teach them one thing, then I would spend a lot of time on scams. I don't know what the exact number is, but I think it's like $3.8 billion a year is being lost in scams. And once you get scammed, you're not going to get the money back. There's also a woman told me about her father who actually has a subscription for one of the antivirus programs out there.
Right.
Okay. He gets a phone call that says, hey, you know, we're from this AB company and we are so sorry, but you overpaid. And he's like, I overpaid? They're like, yeah, you know, you overpaid like by $65 and we want to put that money back in your bank account. So can you give us your bank account number and how to access that so we can put the $60 back in? He also lost $110,000 that way.
Oh, man. Wow.
So what I would do is I'd put together a list of scams and then tell them about a few of them and then quiz them. Where's the red flag on this scam?
That's a great idea. Yeah.
You know? And how could this person have avoided being taken? And there's also the gold bar scam. You ought to tell them about the gold bar scam because that's where older adults are being targeted and they're being told that to protect their money at the bank, they have to go buy gold. And then they have to put it in like an old iPhone box, put it in the back of a car, and then the federal agent is going to come get it at the back of the car.
Wow.
So they believe all this, and I don't understand how and why, but other than, you know, they're trusting. They have been trusting.
Well, you know, when they get older and they have diminished ability, let's face it. So this is why I was actually inspired by one of my mom's friends who is just deathly afraid to go online to do anything, banking and stuff. So my idea for this class was to just educate them on, you know, the ease and the using online. But you're right. It's so pervasive out there. I'm getting scammed.
Yeah, I think I would go 100% only with the scams, just 100% just with the scams. And if you need any help from me, if you want me to look at the curriculum, if you want me to give you some sound bites, if there's something I can lend a hand with, you know, the mighty Mike James, I'm always here from you. I miss you. I miss you around the studios. I do, Mikey. And I love you, honey. I do. I know you're not supposed to say that about somebody who used to work for it, but I do. I do love you, Mike. All right, let me ask you a question. What percentage of Americans routinely spies on their partner's phones? They check their texts and they look at the location history. Are you ready for this? More than half of Americans confess they have snooped on their partner's phone. You know, I get calls on the show all the time from people saying, I think somebody's spying on me. You know, anyone, not just hackers, can use spyware apps. And these apps are sold with good intentions, like maybe keeping kids safe or preventing scams on loved ones. But they can be easily misused. So is someone spying on your phone? Well, of course, you're going to check your phone's app. Look for ones that are tracking text calls or social media. They have names like mSpy, Spy Bubble, Hoverwatch. Well, really, any apps with titles with the name spy on it, that would be a clue. But seriously, if you have to spy on your partner's phone, there are a lot of bigger issues in that relationship of yours. All right, we have more of your phone calls coming up, as well as a new online payment scam that's spreading like crazy. You don't want to miss that here on the Kim Komando Show. Let's see, Carter in Los Angeles, California. Hi there, Carter.
How are you doing?
Oh, great. What's going on?
I'm looking for some databases to find out if someone has been searching me. In this particular case, a family member of the beginning of the probate of the last surviving parent. We have some in-laws that suspected that my wife and I maybe had taken some finances from them when they lived in the same town that we did for a few years, and maybe did some investments and hid them in other names or whatever. And we, from hearing comments from other in-laws. We think that they did a search. I got a call from them once, and they were setting up some information, or they got access to my Social Security number and date of birth. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe they were doing a work history search. I've checked one of the credit bureaus right now. I didn't see anything unusual. I need to check the other two, but I was wondering if there was a database where I could find out, who was searching for me.
Yeah, there really isn't. There's not one repository that can say that, everybody's, there's these type of instances that we're looking for information about Carter in Los Angeles. I mean, that's just isn't possible. What is the end game? What are you trying to really find?
The end game for me?
Mm-hmm. I mean, what is it? Because you can't really, even if they were to, are you trying to prove to them like, hey, you were looking me up, or what is it that you're trying to do?
Yeah, just for, because they've, whenever you have issues with probate, and then you have families that have been, friends for a long time, now everybody's not, just to say, this is what you did, and you found nothing, and there's nothing there, so we all need to grow up and go on.
Well, you know what, and death in the family can certainly drive families apart. I mean, I think it's so unfortunate that happens, and people say things that are dumb, and they sometimes they get greedy, or they don't understand the responsibility of it is to have the person who's being the executor of the estate. I have done that, Carter. It's not fun. I don't like that at all. Matter of fact, another family member said, "You know what? We want you to be the executor." I'm like, I mean, can you find somebody else? Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, my wife is the executor, and this is kind of the same situation. I did get an incognito membership.
That's good.
To try to look in some of there, but I was just hoping that there was maybe some, other than the credit bureaus, there was maybe another search where I might be able to see if something.
Let me tell you something. If they found something on you, if they even thought they had something, they would have an attorney and they'd be going after you.
Agreed. Yeah, they would have already said something.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, there's nothing there, or else they would have brought it to your attention. They would have said, "Well, look, this is what you did, and this is what we have proof with." And mom or dad or whoever it was, Uncle Harry, is that they would have, they would have agreed that you have a fiduciary responsibility. You're legally obligated to be in the best interest of the estate and all the benefits. They would have done all that. They would have.
I agree.
So at this point, either you get an attorney, you make sure that everything's documented. If has to be evaluations, like I have to still go through some stuff with Yadro figurines from my mom, where somebody says, well, I can't believe that's worth that much, or it isn't worth that much, or whatever, maybe, look at eBay, what has sold, not what's for sale. I mean, but I have found communication being the key. And I would also be cautious with sharing any other information with them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And we're dealing them through the attorney that's handling the probate.
Yeah. It's so sad. It is that it does, sometimes get down into the nitty gritty. And that's why it's super important that you have an estate and you have a will, right? I mean, it is.
Yep.
I mean, it's, and especially with not just your physical assets or digital assets. And that, there is that clause in the will that says if you contest this or any other part of the will, that you get nada, you get zero. And because I have found that to be very, very helpful. But as far as, trying to see if anybody's looking you up, like I said, Carter, they already have. They've already gone down there. And in case you're wondering, Carter, as far as incognito, what they're doing is they're taking you out of publicly accessible databases. So that this way, your wife's information, your information, because now you get up to 3 email addresses on the accounts and good stuff like that, is that this is so important today. It really is. In case you're interested, you're like, what is Incognito? Just go to Incognito.com, use code KIM60, and you're going to get 60% off. They are a sponsor of the show. I checked them out before they were a sponsor. They were amazing. All right, I just want to say that if you're just too shy to give me a call on a big-time radio show and podcast, I get that. Believe it or not, many years ago when I started on the show, I used to sweat like a banshee doing the show. So nervous. So if you want me to actually see your question, don't leave it all over social media. Just go to one spot. Go to commando.com, and then at the top of the page, there's a link that says Ask Kim. That's Komando, commando.com, and then hit that link that says Ask Kim. Okay, big warning about Zelle, and if you are also a credit union customer, because scammers are impersonating credit union employees to con you out of thousands of dollars. Here's how they do it. They're going to call or text you using sometimes a fake phone number that looks like it's from the credit union and say, oh my gosh, your account's been compromised and you need to reverse a transaction. But if you do, tricky, you're actually authorizing the transaction. And then once you approve it, neither Zelle nor the credit union is responsible. So if you get one of these calls or texts, just hang up immediately, call the credit union yourself, don't reply to any text messages. And if you're just sitting there thinking like, I'm not a credit union customer, this can't happen to me. Yeah, it can. Okay, they're just going to pretend to be your bank. Hey, just a reminder, there's still time for you to enter to win that brand new iPhone 16. You want to go to winfromkim.com right now.
Thanks for listening to The Kim Commando Show. Here's hour 2.
Hey, how about we start out with just a little bit of trivia, okay? How many YouTube videos are there on the planet? How many YouTube videos are on the planet? Is it 800 million, 1 billion, or 14 billion? Okay, is it 800 million, 1 billion, or 14 billion? You ready? Ding, 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 ding. 14 billion videos, 1.5 for every single person on the planet. Wow. The University of Massachusetts researchers also found that the most popular videos represent less than 4% of all uploads. Which reminds me, are you subscribed to my YouTube channel? Come on, what are you waiting for? We are like this close from getting 100,000 subscribers. So you want to go to youtube.com/KimCommando, youtube.com/KimCommando. Oh, here's another fun fact. How many channels do you think actually have 100,000 subscribers? How many? It's like, I saw the stat the other day. It's like 0.0005%. So yeah, we are just inching up there. So do me a favor. Just go to youtube.com/KimCommando and hit that big old subscribe button. You know, and I love how everybody on YouTube is just suddenly getting into classic rock. I mean, they just say time and time again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Oh, share, get it? If I could turn back time. All right, I hope you're ready, folks, because today is all about tech, and I am here to make sure that you are always tech ahead and not tech left behind in the digital dust, because after all, I'm Kim Commando, your beloved digital goddess, here with you. Just tapped into the biggest show, the best show, the most trusted show about all things digital. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top stations across the United States. And of course, we're streaming in your favorite radio app. And you can now find The Kim Commando Show as a podcast. Yes, you're going to love that. Wherever you get your podcast, just search for Commando with a K. And a special shout out goes to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio. And, you know, great sponsors help to make this show possible, and I always negotiate money-saving deals with them. So to see all the sponsors and to get the links that you need, just head over to commando.com/sponsors. That's commando.com/sponsors. All right, every single day, I just dive into over 35 different sources to make sure that, you know, we're both up to date what's going on in the tech world. Because let me tell you, it is just moving so quickly, isn't it? Oh, man. So here are the top 5 things you need to know what's happening right now. Sam Altman, of course, is the CEO of OpenAI, and he was really talking up artificial intelligence a lot this past week. And I mentioned him in the last hour. But here's what else he was talking about as far as AI getting smarter than the entire human race. And it could happen sooner than you think, in as few as 1,000 days. Now, in this new blog post, Altman calls this the intelligence age. He says that AI could help solve all of our problems, building space colonies, cracking the mysteries of physics. And to quote him, he says, I believe the future is going to be so bright that no one can do it justice by trying to write about it now. A defining characteristic of the intelligence age will be massive prosperity. So Altman says that our jobs are going to change, but he thinks we're not going to miss our jobs once AI takes over. He says no one is looking back at the past wishing they were a lamplighter. Okay, nobody's crying over lamplighters or switchboard operators, but it's easy to say something like that when you're not the person being replaced by AI and a robot. All right, moving on to number 2. Meta had its big event this past week. CEO Mark Zuckerberg, sporting fresh curly hair and a big T-shirt, he took to stage. And I'll tell you, some of it was actually pretty impressive, like the live English to Spanish translations. that were happening in real time. He unveiled the Orion AR glasses designed to look like regular trendy frames, but they're packed with cutting-edge technology. And I'll tell you, these glasses look like something that you would have worn in the 1950s. And at one point, they were called Coca-Cola bottle glasses because they were so thick. It's kind of what they look like. They have micro LED projectors built in so that it kind of gives you this heads-up display. Orion has generative AI with a twist. So like you put them on and then you can see all the ingredients on the table and tells you all about the ingredients, the spices and what they're good for and things like that. They also rolled out a new VR headset, the Quest 3S, $300, Snapdragon, Gen 2 chip, Touch Plus controllers. It's a little bit cheaper than the other Quests that they had out as far as VR goggles, but they killed off the Quest 2 and the Quest Pro. So if you see those on sale, definitely don't want to buy those. And they also unveiled Meta and AI generated content for your Facebook and Instagram feeds. It's going to be called Imagine for You. So AI is going to take your face and put it into what they say an enchanted realm. So you could imagine yourself like a video game character or an astronaut or maybe a digital goddess. All right, moving on to number 3. I'm planning a big trip. I'm going to be going to Rwanda, all over Africa. I'm going to go to Athens. And it's going to be pretty major. The reason why I bring this up is Google Maps. Okay, wow, they just had so many updates this past week with Street View in almost 80 countries, Australia, Brazil, Japan, and yes, even Rwanda. They also added Street View to some places for the first time, like Namibia, Paraguay, Bosnia. And then on Google Earth, you can now check out historical images going back 80 years. So if you want to see what London looked like World War II, you got it. They also made it easier this past week for you to work with your passkeys. I'm talking about Google. Now you can sync your passkeys all across Windows, Mac, Linux, Android using the Google Password Manager. We have some information about that over at commando.com. Moving on to number 4, you can now video 911 with your iPhone on some places throughout the country. It's going to be rolling out. And so here's the deal is that with iOS 18 now, when you call 911, you'll be asked if you want to share live video with emergency services. And you can also share photos from your library. Again, it's all optional. I mean, this could be a total game changer, saving lives, helping, obviously, fire police departments assess situations and respond appropriately. And finally, this coming in at number 5. Oh, you're not going to believe this. Andy Norton is a 32-year-old guy from Arizona. He had spent years and years and years battling sleep apnea, asthma, constant congestion, thinking like, oh, maybe it was my bad genes, maybe it's allergies. Then one day in the shower, he blew his nose, and guess what came out? A Lego. Okay, you see, when he was 6, he jammed a tiny Lego up his nose, and he thought it would be hilarious if a Lego man could rescue it. Well, during the rescue, the Lego man's head popped off and got stuck. His mom used tweezers to get the head out, but the dot, it stayed in his nose for 26 years. Andy says he can finally breathe again. And he says, I probably broke some world record for having a Lego stuck up my nose for 26 years. Man, he is so popular. He's a celebrity. People want his autograph, and they're lining up for blocks. Ooh. All right, we have some great things to pass along, like ways to contact SOS with your phones and trackers, how to hide your phone number making a phone call. Oh, you know what? There's some fake weight loss drugs all over the internet. We'll be talking about that. And of course, we just have the best phone calls. And of course, you have me, Kim Commando. Hey, you can enter to win a brand new iPhone 16 right now at winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. Aside from my show here, I host a wildly popular podcast called Kim Commando Today. That's where I get to speak with some really interesting folks like Jack Liu. He's a marketing pro who wanted to try something different to find love. So instead of using dating apps, he spent $1,000 on Facebook ads to help him find the right one. Wow. Here, take a listen. So, Jack, what made you start taking out some ads on Facebook? Because, I mean, I take out ads on Facebook, but not for me, for my newsletter.
Right.
There's a lot of people that sell things on Facebook. I don't know if we ever thought about, like, taking out a Facebook ad just to sell us.
Yeah, I mean, guys have to swipe hours. So this was in 2020, and my friend, he made it his part-time job to find a girlfriend, and he was swiping on the dating apps. He told me at least 20 hours a week.
Oh, my gosh.
I've tried it, right? Not that many hours in the past, And I thought, okay, if I needed to spend that much time just to get matches, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do anything but that. So around this time, there was a guy in the UK who ran his own billboard. And he had his photo on the billboard along with his website. And so he got a lot of people submitting inquiries that wanted to date him. He was looking for a wife, but he got both men and women reaching out to him.
Okay.
So it was great press, but targeted wise, not great. And so
that's true. It's like it's not targeted advertising. You don't know who's going to see the billboard. So what kind of criteria did you use?
Yeah, sure. So around the time I was in California, I was moving to Texas. My parents were in New York. So first of all, I knew those were the states I would travel to. So that was in my criteria. Age, of course. I also looked at, okay, who did I want in a life partner, right? I wanted someone who was growth-minded, someone who was into outdoors, someone who liked traveling. And so those were 3 good criteria to start narrowing down and to use as the interest in the Facebook ads.
Now, when you started placing the ads, what did it cost you?
Yeah. So I want to brag a little bit. Most ads on Facebook, if you're good, it's about 1%, 2% click-through rate, I would say, right? My ad got 4%.
Yes. That's great. So what do you attribute that to? Is it just because you're just so dang handsome and you had your picture out there?
Hey, I mean, so the thing is, when someone's scrolling through Facebook, if they see a dating ad, they assume immediately that it's a dating app. Mm-hmm. And so my ad, it was very clear, okay, something is different about this. I also had you can see it's called Meet Jack. It doesn't say Tinder or Match. And also said in the very first line that, yes, I am running ads for myself. That gets someone to stop scrolling on the news feed and click on the ad. Those are the 2 most important things that, as a marketer, they know that that's what they need to do for an ad. And then from there, they would click on the website.
Now, how did you get with Beth?
Yeah, maybe I'll let her tell that side of the story.
Well, before you tell how you guys got together, I want to know your first reaction. You see the ad. What caused you to actually click on it?
Sure. So I saw the ad in Boston, and he was not targeting anything in Massachusetts. So I saw the ad because someone posted it into a Facebook group, and then my roommate saw it in that group. And so I came home one night from a date that was not going to go anywhere. And I was kind of lamenting how hard it was to find the right person. And my roommate showed me the ad. And when I saw it, I thought this is really creative, really out of the box, and even a bit bold for him to put himself out there like that. And then when I went to the website, which was essentially a dating profile, what really impressed me was that he had put a lot of thought and a lot of intentionality into how he crafted that. He had good photos, he had funny testimonials, and I could just tell that he had thought really deeply about who he was looking for. And if you're a woman, you will know that if you go on these apps, it doesn't really take very long to experience the sea of subpar and just really not great profiles out there. So I was really impressed by the thought, the intentionality that was attractive. And then I saw that we had some hobbies and things in common. I could tell that he was really interesting as a person. He had done tango dancing. I'm not sure if this was actually on the profile, but soon after that, I learned that he had gone to Argentina for 5 weeks to study tango dancing. And so there's all these, we've tango danced together. So he tries to teach me. And on our first date, actually, this is the romantic side of him. So on our first date, we were walking around a pond, and he just kind of stopped. He turned on some music and tried to tango dance with me in the park. So that was our first time tango dancing together.
Okay, so Beth, how did you have to respond?
Sure. So he had a contact form on the website. So I wrote in, and he had 1 or 2 prompt questions. And I think the question was, if you could go anywhere in the world, do anything with a day off, and there were no obstacles, what would you do? And he got a lot of really short one-line responses like, I would just stay home and rest, sleep, watch TV. And I think we're both really thoughtful people. And so I actually wrote something of some substance and length and talked about where I would want to travel and what I might want to do when I was traveling and things like that.
Well, that's pretty awesome. So Jack, how many people did you get to fill out the form?
Yeah, so well over 100. It was probably 100, 150. Again, so I ran it in mainly just those 3 states initially. I also ran it in Europe just for fun because everyone else was, sitting at home. So why? Maybe they would want to do a Zoom date.
All right. So you guys been together 2 years?
About 3 now.
A bit over 3.
About 3 years. Obviously, it's working out.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I understand you're taking this experience and you're trying to turn it into a business?
Yeah, so that's what ZipMatch is. It's a boutique advertising for running dating campaign. And so when I started this, I pretty much documented everything. And I knew that I would try to systemize everything. I knew my costs in ads, which is the most important thing. And so actually I knew that about every $10, I would get a lead. And every $50, I would get a date, for example. And so I need to make sure I know these numbers and that they're scalable and predictable. And the process works. And so I've done it for a couple of people and I turned it into a business.
Now you can hear my entire chat on Kim Komando Today. So wherever you get your podcast, just search for Kim Komando Today with a K, of course. And you can also watch the entire interview over at youtube.com/Kim Komando. All right. What if I could tell you that you can get free ebooks and movies and a lot more by visiting your local library? Well, you can, but you actually don't even need to go there anymore. Just download the app Libby, Libby, and they're going to actually help you get a library card using the app, even if you don't have one. But once you have this free app, you have access to ebooks, audiobooks, movies, magazines, over 273,000 different titles. Again, the app is Libby, Libby. All right, still to come, more of your phone calls and more of me you don't want to miss here on the Kim Komando Show. Have you ever wondered, I want to make a phone call, but I don't want to give them my phone number because then they have it and then they're going to annoy the heck out of me. Aha! I'm going to pass along some tips to make that magic happen, as well as there's a lot of fake weight loss drugs on the internet. I'm going to tell you what to watch out for. And before we get to all of that, what if in a moment of crisis, your voice was the only thing that you could not use to get help? It's not a pleasant thought, but it happens. So there are ways for you to ask for help without saying a word. Like the new tile trackers, they have an SOS feature. You can press the button 3 times and your friends will get an alert that you have an emergency. And if you want to connect to 911 services, you're going to need a subscription. That's $25 a month. But remember, your phone already has built-in emergency SOS. On an iPhone, press and hold the sign button and a volume button until the SOS slider just appears. On Android, you're going to press the power button 5 times quickly to trigger emergency services. Now, here's the important thing. Parents, this is something that you really need to teach your kids. How to call 911 very quickly using your phone. Because recently a 4-year-old girl didn't know how to call 911 on her mom's phone. Her mom collapsed. She was having a seizure. But luckily, this is something the girl knew how to go to the Alexa Echo speaker and say, she actually called her great grandma in order to have her come over and help out. So again, you just want to make sure that your kids know how to do that. Let's see, Roger in Tempe, Arizona. Hi, Raj.
Hello, Kim, and how are you doing today?
I am fantastic.
That's awesome. It's a pleasure chatting with you. I think I called in a few years ago, and I always enjoy listening to your program. I always feel just a little bit smarter after listening to your show.
That's awesome. That's my goal, Definitely don't want you to feel dumbed down by listening, let me tell you.
Anyways, I have a monthly subscription to Adobe Premiere. I have a background as an Army video broadcaster.
Oh, wow.
Editing software, it's come a long way from when I was doing this as an Army broadcaster in Iraq about 15 years ago.
Oh, my gosh. It has totally changed in 15 years. Oh, my gosh.
I mean,
it has.
We were using Adobe Premiere at the time. I've continued to use it into the private sector as an educator and a sports videographer. However, it has that required subscription that I can't get around. So any suggestions going forward so I can still access my Adobe Premiere files, have really good editing software? In other words, is there a better free editing software out there, or do I just need to continue paying the Adobe subscription going forward?
This is such a hard question. And here's the reason why. Is that Adobe is the Cadillac, the Mercedes, the Ferrari, the Lamborghini, whatever it is. And they do have this proprietary file format that other companies just like, And then Adobe's like, don't you be violating our trademark by accepting that file format. Are you kidding? So if you are familiar with it and you're using it a lot and it's time is money and this is your business, I'm going to say stick with it. But if you want to try something else that is free, DaVinci Resolve. It's a program that's a lot like Premiere Pro. Of course, you can't beat Avid Media Composer. The free version is okay, but you're probably not going to like it. Then in order to convert these Adobe Premiere Pro files, you can export it as an XML file and then try to import it into DaVinci Resolve and see if that feels right for you. See if it's, because some people, like, for example, my husband, try as I might, to get him to use Google Docs, I cannot pry his fingers off of Microsoft Word. But you know what? I've just resolved to the fact that the guy wants to use Microsoft Word because he knows it and he feels comfortable with it, And so that's what I'm thinking with you is that you've been using it now for what, 20 years, right?
15-ish.
Okay, 15-ish years. And if it's helping you with your business, with your career, like I said, time is money, you might just say, you know what, I'm just going to stick with it. But if you want to try something different, hey, I'm all for that. I'm an entrepreneur. Take a look at DaVinci Resolve. It's open source and it's free. DaVinci Resolve. They've done some really big movies on this, as a matter of fact. One of my most favorite movies is The King's Speech, and that was all done with DaVinci Resolve. So it's powerful software, truly, truly powerful software. And you may be able to just kind of pick it up in just a nanosecond, which sound like you're super smart, and maybe you can do that. But again, just, nosy around. And you can also look at Final Cut Pro or Avid Media Composer, but I think you're probably going to be best served with that DaVinci Resolve. And Roger, thanks for your call today. All right. It's so easy for your phone number to get in the wrong hands. Be added to a marketing list, whether because you bought something or just made a phone call. But there is a way to stop this. Now, there are a few ways to hide your number. The easiest, I don't know if you know this, is *67. That'll hide your landline, if you still have one, as well as your cell number. So you just punch in *67, followed by the number that you're calling, and that's it. Then the caller will see private or blocked number. Now, here's the bummer. You have to do that for every single call. Now, if you want your number to be hidden all the time, you can change a setting on your phone. On your iPhone, just tap Settings and then go to Phone and Show My Caller ID. Just toggle that off. And on Android, the option is called Hide Number. Now, you can also ask your carrier to hide your number forever, or you can use a burner app like Hushed or Google Voice. All right, still to come, we have more of your great phone calls, as well as fake weight loss drugs. Wow. They're just spreading like crazy too online. I need to tell you what to watch out for here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, let's see. Holly in Houston, Texas. Hi there, Holly.
Hi.
Hi, what's going on?
Thank you so much for taking my call. I had gotten I bought an office suite from Microsoft.
Okay.
And I had put it on my laptop. I actually hadn't had my laptop for that long, maybe a year. And I intended on using it a whole lot more. But I was having difficulty getting everything coordinated so that I could use it. And I was working on getting it to access my printer. And I was having difficulties and looked at the paperwork that I'd received. And I don't know whether I used DuckDuckGo. I'm not sure, but at this point. But I had called to get some instructions on how to resolve some of the issues I was having. And no sooner had I gotten somebody on the line than they had directed me to do this and that, and all of a sudden
you called a bad number and you got taken?
Taken? No, I didn't get taken because I didn't agree to anything.
Okay, good.
Any information?
Good.
No. After having listened to you as often as I had, I was surprised to find myself in that predicament. But I backed out of it as quickly as I could.
Good.
The guy was profoundly confused. What did I say? You don't trust me?
No, I don't. As a matter of fact, okay. I don't even trust the mailman. Okay, why would I trust you coming onto my Windows computer?
Oh, I wish I had thought of that. But I had obviously my laptop open, and they had accessed my laptop and my phone. So I haven't used my laptop since then because I'm not sure whether I'm in charge of it or not.
Yeah, because you know what, it's a good call. I mean, you don't know what they put on there, Holly. I mean, they might still have stuff in there, and then as soon as you fire it up. Now, I will tell you, most times when you do call a phone number, and did they remote into your laptop?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Most of the time when they remote in is that connection is severed when you actually turn off your computer. Not very often are they sophisticated enough so that when you turn it back on, a box will pop up and say, "Woo, woo, woo, Holly, your Windows computer is going to melt down unless you give us $1,200 in Bitcoin. Thank you very much." So, but that being the case, I still want you to be really, really careful. As number one, when you turn it back on, go into what's called safe mode. Basically, when you turn the laptop, you just press F8 a few times, and the Windows logo is going to pop up, and then that's where it says safe mode with networking, and then from here, that's where you can just run a full antivirus scan. And you want to do a full scan, by the way, not just like, just files have changed. No, you want you to do the whole enchilada. It's not fun. I get that. But it's something that's necessary. So you're just going to turn on your computer, press F8, and then you're going to get into safe mode and then do that AV scan. Now, just for giggles, is that I want to make sure that all your financial accounts are secure. They didn't get any passwords because when they were on your computer, they could have taken a look at your passwords that are being saved in the browser. So, set up two-factor authentication, use an authenticator app, the whole drill. Freeze your credit, watch your credit, and change any passwords that you have any money tied to. Because if they're going to do anything, those are the ones that they're going to be going right to. So, word to the wise, doesn't matter what browser that you're using. You never, ever, ever want to Google search a phone number. Just don't do it. You want to go to the official homepage of wherever you're having issues. They all have chat right now. And just start using the chat bot. Just say, we're having trouble with this. Well, make sure that you're at the official homepage too. All right. But just want to make sure that pass that along as well. Holly, sorry for the hassle. Ugh, it's a nightmare out there. All right, let's see who's next. Kay in beautiful Davenport, Iowa. Hello there, Kay.
Hi, Kim. Thanks for taking my call.
You betcha.
Hey, I have been a listener for a very long time, and I wondered if you wanted to know about a story where you saved my life once about 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah. I had a desktop computer like we all did that way back when, and it was in my basement office, and the tower sat on the floor. Well, the basement flooded with 4 to 5 inches of dirty water. Oh. And I was alarmed that the computer was damaged, but had no worries about all the content being lost because just 1 month earlier, I had signed up with a remote automatic computer backup system that I learned about from you, and you were recommending at that time.
Carbonite.
Yep, you're right. But I went out and bought my first laptop. All the data was downloaded to it, and I went on my merry way, and the basement was a mess, but my computer was clean.
You're like, yes, thank you, Kim Commando. Yeah. Well, Carbonite, the gentleman who started Carbonite, his name's David. But it was funny when we were first started advertising, and I was the first place where they ever advertised, by the way, is that I had to explain what remote access was. I'll never forget that. I had to be like, okay, so it's a computer in the cloud, so it's like, it's not in a real cloud, but we call it a cloud. And but Carbonite, they, after several years really just dominating the whole consumer marketplaces, they decided to switch gears and they went more towards enterprises. And so when they switched that bus to go on the enterprise bus rather, and then instead of the consumer side, that's when iDrive stepped in, and because they're more consumer focused. But no, Carbonite, it's a great company, great product. It truly is.
Yeah, well, I was certainly thankful for it at the time, and I couldn't believe the timing of it. I said a prayer of thankfulness to God, too, because I think he had a hand in it.
Oh, that's
anyway,
sweet.
So that was great.
So what's going on now?
Yeah, I have a question. I receive many calls from various companies, quote unquote, saying that my business needs to be verified by Google or the website is missing information so that customers will not be able to find my business online. And whenever I do any kind of search online, I think it pops up pretty easily, and I don't see any problems with it. At first, I thought these calls were legit, but now I'm wondering if they're a scam. I have never called anybody back. I was just wondering what you know about these companies.
Well, it's a scam. It's probably a scam. 9 times out of 10, it's a scam. I mean, especially if you've already set up, you've gone to google.com/business, right? And you put your website in there. Have you done that?
No, I haven't done that specifically.
Okay, go to google.com/business.
Okay.
And that's where you can get your business listed, obviously, through Google. And now Google's going to ask you for a whole bunch of information. You have to name the business and you have to claim it. You got to fill in all the details. And then Google's going to want to verify your business, make it legit. But there is a scam going around, especially if you have a Google Voice number. Seems like they're hitting. Do you have a Google Voice number?
A Google Voice number?
No. Okay, so you don't. Because there's a scam where they're going after Google Voice number, people who have Google Voice numbers. But Google's not going to call you really and say, hey, can we make sure that your business is legit? I mean, if they did that, they'd be on the phone all day long, right?
Yeah, they would.
Okay,
right.
So, and anytime somebody calls you unsolicited versus you filling out a form or at least taking a couple of steps, is that I am always so suspicious, because then all of a sudden, once they get their little like pinky finger around you, that's when it's like, oh, well, now we need money for this, or can we remote in and we'll fix it for you? And then you're like, okay, and then that's going to cost $175. And you're like, oh my gosh, okay. So I'm glad you called. I'm going to say it's a scam. And then for you to actually get your business listed with Google, which is a great idea, by the way, because this way, anytime somebody's trying to find somebody, what you do locally that you're going to pop up and also on Google Maps is that you want to start at google.com/business. That's google.com/business. And if they're just calling to verify that you're on Google, you're not there. So what are they verifying? So get yourself on there again. That's google.com/business. Kay, I'm so glad that you called me and you're not calling those people back. You're a smart one. Thank you for your call. I just love to help each and every one of you. And I know that you can use AI to get a lot of your answers to your questions. And I think that you should be using AI. Absolutely. You've got all different types that you can. I mean, you've got ChatGPT, Perplexity, Copilot, Gemini, just pick your flavor and there it is. But when you're looking for trusted advice, somebody that you can actually talk to, well, that's where I come into play. And if you're wondering how to grow your business, how to take care of your parents, how to take care of your kids, or maybe, you think you're getting scammed, or maybe you are getting scammed, is I want to be able to step in and help you out. Like, for example, there was Dana who called and her daughter was getting stalked because she met somebody on Tinder. And then suddenly mom found her phone number and home address on a porn site. Yeah, that said for a good time, just come on over and knock on my door. And then all these crazy guys were coming over. And then she was wondering, how do I find out who this guy is? Okay. Oh, man. She went to the police. The police didn't want to help her. And then I stepped in. And let me tell you something. We found out who that person was. And then when the police arrested him, you know what they found on his computer? I know, it's just disgusting. They found kiddie porn. Oh, my gosh. Something. So if you need help with your digital life, I just want you to know that I'm here for you. The best place for you to reach out is to go to Komando.com. And then there's a link at the top that says Ask Kim. And I read every single note that you send me. Once again, that's Komando.com. At the very top, just hit that link that says Ask Kim. All right, you know that weight loss and diabetes drugs like Ozempic are just flying off the shelves. And before you even think about getting it without a prescription from your doctor, I want you to listen. A cybersecurity firm shut down over 250 sketchy websites selling dangerous, sometimes deadly Ozempic counterfeits. But that's not the only thing. TikTok influencers are saying to ditch Ozempic for Oatzempic. It's a smoothie made of oats and water and lime juice. They say you can lose up to 40 pounds. Spoiler alert, it's not gonna. The TikTokers are just making money. So you want to see your doctor. Never buy prescription-only meds from online sellers that don't ask for one. It's dangerous. It's illegal. And don't trust social media so-called experts when it comes to your health. I mean, let's just face it. They're just in it for the money. Hey, be sure to enter to win that brand new iPhone 16. Do it now. No purchase required. Just go to this website, winfromkim.com.
Thank you for listening to the Kim Commando Show. Here's hour 3.
Wow, I don't know if you heard the news, but companies are dropping Gen Z employees just months after hiring them. I'm talking about 6 in 10 employers have already let go recent college grads that they hired. Half of them say that the new hires lack motivation. They struggle with communication. They aren't professional. They come in late. They always have their phone in their hands, and they don't seem to take initiative. Yep, those are the Gen Zers. But, when you think about it, coronavirus, it was all Gen Z's fault, really. I mean, they wanted everything to go viral, and now, look what happened. Yes. Hey, get set, everyone. We're diving into everything tech today. That's right. And I'm going to make sure that you are always tech ahead and never tech behind, left in the dust. Because after all, that's my job. I'm Kim Commando, America's digital goddess, here with you once again. You just tapped into most trusted, the biggest show, the award-winning show about all things digital. You can find me on over 420 top radio stations across the United States. I'm streaming in your favorite radio app, and you can also find me streaming whenever you want over as part of the Commando community. It just costs a few bucks a month, and you get a free 30-day trial. Once again, just hit that Commando community button when you're over at commando.com. And a special hello goes out to all of our listeners in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries who are joining us on the American Forces Network Radio. And great sponsors always help to make this show possible. And, we want you to check them out. Head over to commando.com/sponsors for all the great deals and the links that you need. All right, every single day, I scour more than 35 to 40 different sources to make sure that I know exactly what's going on. And then I want to pass it along to you to make sure that you know what's going on. Because, wow, I'm telling you, if there's ever been an age where having tech know-how is important, it's never been more important than right now. So let's start with number 1. We're going to talk about OceanGate, the Titan submersible that went missing last June. Everybody was all over this, just refreshing their news feeds for updates. It had 4 men on a mission to catch just a glimpse of the Titanic. But the story ended in tragedy, just like the Titanic itself. So despite warnings about the vessel being unable to withstand the ocean's pressure, OceanGate just proceeded. But as details came out this past week in the court hearings, wow, it's just shocking how many signs were just ignored. For one thing, they ditched the navigation maps. That's right. Stockton Rush's CEO tossed them aside like junk. They were using Microsoft Excel, a spreadsheet to track the missions and exactly where they were located. The sub's window was only rated for a third of the depth they were diving to. OceanGate shrugged it off, saying, it's not important. The steering, they used a Logitech game controller. It was even tossed around during a mission briefing. So did the company know all about these major, massive, and huge safety issues? Yes. David Lockridge, the former operations director, flagged 27 of them. OceanGate response, they fired him. Sounds unbelievable, but sadly, it's true. All right, moving on to number 2, the end of the free internet. I don't know if you know this, but it has been 31 years ago when the World Wide Web was new to anybody with just a modem and a dial-up phone line. And owners of every website, America Online and CompuServe, were just begging for people to visit. Well, not anymore. Of the 5 most visited news websites, only 2 are still free. The New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and USA Today put up paywalls requiring monthly subscriptions years ago. CNN, they're about to follow. If you're a Fox News fan, they're just experimenting. You have to hand over your email address in exchange to see certain stories. And when a website starts asking for your email, you can bet that they're laying the groundwork for a subscription program of willing and ready customers who are going to be the first to just sign up. Yeah, the days of the free internet, those 30 years ago, those are long gone. Moving on to number 3. What if I told you you could find love? Not just any love, but someone who actually meets every single one of your needs. Well, it's not really a someone, it's AI boyfriends and girlfriends. Every month, there are at least 250,000 searches for AI girlfriends. That's according to the Kinsey Institute. Yeah, these AI romance apps like Replica, you pay to unlock features like voice calls and new topics. You can even change how they look when you're bored. But is an AI partner a true replacement for a human connection? Not really. That same research shows about 31% of folks believe AI can provide a sexual experience similar to a human, but falls flat emotionally. Not a real relationship. And at the end of the day, the worst part is your privacy, because every interaction, every photo you share is collected and sold. So you're paying with your wallet, but you're also paying with your personal data too. All right, moving on to number 4. Have a Zoom call lately? Well, Zoom CEO Eric Yuan said that he's working on giving you a digital twin in your Zoom meetings. He has a future where AI-powered digital twins attend your meetings, make decisions, and free up time for you. With your personal data like job info and experience, they say this AI could take over most of your job, calling you in for only the tough tasks. Now, Zoom is already moving in this direction with something that's called an AI companion. It's included with all paid subscriptions, summarize meetings, create action items, and even analyzes tones and conversations. Wow, isn't that something? So if you space out during a meeting, the AI companion can say, hey, there's everything that you missed. And finally, this coming in at number 5. It's called email apnea. What is it? Let's say you get an email from your boss with a subject line that says, we need to talk, or worse, urgent. Okay. You're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? You get all tensed up. What you probably didn't realize is that while you're looking at this email, you're also holding your breath. There's a medical term for this. It's called email apnea. About 80% of folks hold their breath or take shallow breaths while reading their email, according to a recent study. Your body's response to the stress is basically shutting down your normal breathing patterns. So what can you do about this? Well, now that you're aware of it, you can start breathing. You want to take a deep breath before you dive into your inbox and step away from the screen now and then to get a break. And don't refresh your inbox every 5 minutes. Leave some time aside for email and then set a time in your schedule to do emails between, say, 10 and 11 a.m. You know, all that sounds great, but in reality, it just doesn't work. But speaking of email, you want to know how I got my husband Barry to stop reading my email? Do you know how? I renamed everything instruction manuals. So all the folders have like TV instruction manuals, this instruction manuals. Oh gosh, I know. All right, there's new malware spreading disguised as a login page. I need to warn you about that. We're going to talk about mailing checks, why you need to stop doing that. Oh, and now AI can discern your politics just by your face alone. I know, what a world we live in. And of course, we have your phone calls, and you have me, Kim Commando, coming up. Hey, you can enter to win a brand new iPhone 16 right now. Just go to this site, winfromkim.com. No purchase required. That's winfromkim.com. All right, let's start with Mark in Kingman, Arizona. Hi there, Mark.
Hello, Kim. How are you?
Fantastic. What's going on?
Well, I'm a former radio guy. I spent 10 years on the air with a talk show, and I want to get into the podcasting world. Apparently, that's the wave of the future. So I really have no practical knowledge with it. So I'm wondering how to get into it, how to monetize it, where to host it, something legitimate.
Well, what do you want to talk about?
Well, where is a good place to start as far as hosting?
No. What are you going to talk about?
Oh, what am I going to talk about?
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be a bit of a variety show, probably politics, history, American history, world history, that kind of thing. It's going to be a targeted market.
And then how many podcasts have you listened to so far?
A bunch.
Okay, good. Because I can't tell you how many people, Mark, I ask about, and they're like, well, I haven't listened to any yet. I'm like, okay. Well,
oh, no. Like, I listen to a lot of them.
All right, good. So you know the drill on how it all works.
Yeah.
And because you've been in radio, and you do have a great voice, I can tell.
Thank you very much.
Is that it's, that's also a big part of it. So there are different ways. After you do your podcast, you get it all down. Podcast length, it used to be anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes, but now research is saying that podcasts can actually be longer because people are starting to podcast when they're in the house, then they're listening to in the car. And so by the time they get to work, it may be 40, 45 minutes. So don't.
Yeah, my plan is about an hour show.
Yeah, that's good. Somewhere around there. That might be a little too long, but just, see how it feels for when you're putting it together. Typically, you can have 4 breaks in an hour-long show. A break is about a minute and a half. You have pre-roll, post-roll, mid-roll. You have different platforms that are going to host it for you. You don't want to host it yourself. You want to have somebody else do it for you. Okay.
Like iHeart.
I would not use iHeart. I would use Libsyn, Libsyn. That's who I'm using right now. And what they're going to do is Libsyn is going to put you on Apple, Spotify, Google, TuneIn, iHeart, all the rest, Amazon.
Okay.
So what they do is that you do a deal with Libsyn, and you're gonna upload your file to Libsyn, and then you're gonna say, you know what, you can put ads in it for me until I sell the ads, and then they're gonna take a piece of the action. It starts at $5 a month for 50 megs of storage. And then you get analytics, and then it tells you how many people are downloading, how many people are listening. And so then you start building your product, building your base. Libsyn's competitor, they have a few. One is called Buzzsprout. And then another one's called Anchor. Anchor is totally free. But, $5 a month, I'm okay with that, right? Really?
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay. And then you also have Megaphone, which is really big. Megaphone is part of Spotify.
Oh, okay.
So what I don't want you to do is go into like the little tiny companies. So that's why I want you to stay with the bigger companies. Okay, so you do your pod, you figure out who's going to host it, distribute it, and then you also have to put your podcast into all the directories too. So you're going to have to log on to Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube Music. Now it's not Google Podcasts, YouTube Music. iHeart, and wherever. And then that's where you get that URL, and that's where you're also going to plug that into Megaphone. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Okay. So if you build it, I will tell you they will not come. Okay.
Right.
So that's where you really have to get into social media, promote your episodes wherever you can, engage with the audience, start doing cross promotions with other podcasts. What we have found inside the industry is that radio listeners don't necessarily translate into podcast listeners. They kind of do, but podcast listeners translate to podcast listeners. So that's why if you can go on somebody else's podcast, then that may translate to more listeners than even if you were to do a newsletter ad for your podcast. So it kind of makes sense. I mean, you know this from being in radio that, you have to build your audience, build a list, and
that's right.
And, ask for ratings, ask for reviews, because that tells the big tech algorithms that you're worthy of a listen, because they're like, oh, if they like it, somebody else will like it. So why don't you is this enough to get you started?
Yes, it is. And I just wanted to say I'm from the old days of the tickler file. So, yes, I'm well aware of keeping lists.
Yes, exactly. So as you get this going, and you start thinking about other venues or things that, if you have questions about, how to sell the ads or what kind of CPM that you should be looking for on a podcast. I mean, the CPMs are all across the board. That's cost per thousand, folks, in case you're not knowing about that. That's how much it's going to cost you to get 1,000 downloads, which isn't necessarily listens, which is a whole nother story. But, you can look anywhere from $3 to $4 to up to $30 or $40 CPM, depending upon what the personality is or who the person is and what exactly the content is. So, Mark, keep us posted on your progress, and you can do this, folks. You can do it. Oh, and don't forget, Mark, to learn from the best. Make sure that you get the Kim Komando podcast in your favorite podcast player. Just search for Komando with a K. Michael in Indianapolis, glad to have you with us.
Hi, Kim. Thanks for taking my call.
You betcha. What's going on?
Well, I had a question about identity theft protection. I am currently a customer of LifeLock and have been for about 6 years.
Sure.
But they changed ownership, as I'm sure you're aware of, and my customer experience, I would say, is not satisfactory. So I was wondering if you could recommend an alternative.
Well, there are different identity theft services out there, and of course, LifeLock, now owned by Norton, is probably still the biggest one that's available. If you don't want to pay for this, there are things that you can do before we talk about options. You can freeze your credit, and you have to do that on the 3 credit bureaus, and we've got steps on how to do that over on the website. But if you are truly concerned about your identity, and if you don't want to play with the big boys anymore, the LifeLocks of the world, there's a company called Identity Guard. They do basically the same thing: monitoring alerts, identity theft. They do credit monitoring. They have fraud resolution, and they used to be a sponsor of the show, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and they're still out there and full force. So if you're looking for an option for identity theft, just take a look at Identity Guard. There's also Identity Force, by the way. Identity Guard, Identity Force, and then consider freezing your credit. And again, we've got the steps on how to do that. What that means is that nobody's able to get any type of credit information about you because your credit report is frozen. And when you do get a request, you have to unfreeze it. Or if you're going to apply for a mortgage or a credit card or whatever, is that you go ahead and you open your credit card up for your credit report, rather, for a particular time, say 24, 48 hours, and then you lock that sucker back down. Hey, Michael, thank you so much for your call today. Do you remember a long time ago, pricey houses would have intercoms in every room so you could talk to the bedroom from the kitchen? Well, now if you have Amazon Echo devices, you can do that too. So you can say, call the kitchen, call the kids' bedroom, or call everyone and tell them that it's time for dinner. In case you're wondering how to do that, we have the exact steps at Komando.com. All right, still to come, I have to warn you about some malware here on the Kim Komando Show. Hey, if you're still mailing checks, it's time for you to stop that and get with the digital age, because there's some real security problems doing that. And speaking of security, there's some new malware spreading, and it looks like a login page. So this was really frightening. I need to tell you more about that too. But first, and before we get to your phone calls, it used to be not too long ago that, friends could talk about politics over dinner. At the end of the night, everyone would shake their hands and everybody would still be friends. Well, doesn't seem like it's that way anymore, right? But now we learn that artificial intelligence can identify with stunning accuracy whether you're a conservative or a liberal just by looking at a photo of your face, and doesn't need to know anything else about you. This story was published in the prestigious professional journal called American Psychologist. It explains how an AI algorithm called VGG Phase 2 can accurately determine your political views by only looking at your face, which means widespread biometric surveillance in airports, stores, or on the street, or even your Facebook or LinkedIn photo are really more telling and could be more threatening than anyone could ever imagine. Because let me tell you, this technology is here right now. It's called VGG Phase 2. All right, John in Juneau, Alaska. Hi there, John.
Hi, Kim. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. How can I lend a hand?
Well, I work from home here in Juneau. I work for the National Marine Fisheries Association.
What do you do there?
Excuse me. I am a planner for all of our fisheries facilities throughout the country, from Woods Hole up in New England down to in La Jolla down in San Diego.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
And all the way around our country in between. I was going to say everything in between, but that doesn't really make sense.
No, that's awesome. That's great.
And so anyway, I work remotely at home, and so I put my phone, my iPhone, on silent, or I'll put my phone on silent, and then I'll forget to take it off of silent, and I get those phone calls from my wife or text messages saying, "Where are you? How come you're not answering your phone?" And so I was wondering if there is a way that you can put your phone on silent for maybe 30 minutes, an hour, or something like that, so that after that period of time, then it will return to actually ringing And, I've tried putting it on buzz, but if you have it on buzz and it's sitting on your desk and you're in the middle of a teleconference, then that can also be kind of annoying.
It is annoying. We have a running joke here around the studios, is that it doesn't matter what time of day it is. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. But the moment I step into the studio, my husband will call me. It does. I mean, it's like he has like this sixth sense, like, oh, I'm going to bug the crap out of her right this moment. You know what I mean? And so that's when, we used to put up with it pretty well. And then Jeremy here, one of our IT geniuses, he would come in and actually grab my phone and say, oh, we're recording. And then sure enough, he'd look at me like 3 minutes later through the glass holding up the phone like, look who called, that's what happened. And then, of course, like your wife chastises you. I get chastised too, because I used to forget about turning it off. So then it was like, I would get the text that says, turn on your phone. You know what I mean? One of those. And you're like, okay, sorry about that. Mm-hmm. What you can do is you can create a custom focus mode. Okay. Like we have one right now, or the one on my phone I have it called recording. And so when recording is on, nobody gets through. Okay. And I didn't realize this, but I had my phone out and said recording on. My son was here and then I said, oh, here, let me turn that off. And he thought that whenever I had recording mode on, that I was recording him. I'm like, no, this means I'm recording a show or a podcast or something like that. So what you're going to do is go into settings and focus, and then you're going to create a new focus. And you give it a custom name like, Zoom calls or whatever you want to do. Now, you can choose to let who is going to go through as well as what apps allowed to go through. But what's nice is that you can have it time-based or app-based. So you can set it to activate automatically when you open Microsoft Teams or Zoom. And then you can say, when I open this, I want it on for like an hour. And it gives you a lot of flexibility. So it's kind of like do not disturb. But you can set it to deactivate after a certain amount of time, like the hour. Okay. Then you can get super fancy by using shortcuts. So if you want to get super fancy by doing shortcuts, that's where you can actually give it even more automation. And so with the shortcuts menu, a lot of people don't realize that the shortcuts menu that is built into your iPhone, it's actually really handy, is that's where you can do an automation. You create a personal automation. You can set a time of day, like the apps. And then you can also set it on different levels. Even like if you were to even go to a certain place, if you were left the house, I mean, not that this is applicable to right here, but if you were to ever leave the house, you could have another shortcut pop up and, so anyway, but for benefits, for just getting started now, just go to settings and focus. And then you're going to hit that plus icon, and that's where you're going to get into creating a custom teleconference, people, apps, time-based, app-based. And then if you find that you need more than that, then that's where you get into a shortcut. But I think if you just create a new custom focus, that's going to be exactly what you need to do. John, thanks for your call today. And thanks for helping all the fish around the country. All right. Have you ever been stuck on a web page and no matter what you do, you just can't close it? Well, there's a new scam out there that takes that frustration to a whole new level, and it's after your Google login. You see, sneaky malware locks your Windows browser and puts it into kiosk mode. That's a fancy way of saying it freezes your screen. You can't get out. So you click the little X at the top. Your login from Google Forms still works. You might think, I'm just going to log in and I'm going to just get out of here. But don't. That's exactly what the hackers want. The moment you enter your username and password, they got you. So how do you escape? Try hitting Alt F4 or Control Alt Delete to force close the browser. If that fails, just unplug your computer and then restart it and run a virus scan. The bottom line here is always remember, no matter what you're doing on your PC, your Mac, your phone, your tablet, whatever it is, if something feels off, something just is like, this doesn't feel right, it probably is. All right, still to come, we have some more of your great phone calls as well as what's going on with mailing checks in a digital age here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, let's see. Scott in Palm Beach, Florida. Hi there, Scott.
Hi, Kim. How are you doing?
I'm great. What's going on?
Well, I am a high school teacher, actually technically in Riviera Beach, which is very close to Palm Beach. And we are a Title I school, which means we have our funding is a little limited. We get some extra funding because we're a Title I, but funds are always tight. And I'm a computer teacher, and as such, every single one of my students have a computer, and they have access to things online and such. And they don't always like to be on the websites that I tell them to go to.
No, say that's not true, Scott. Come on.
Yeah, there's just, they want to do their own thing and play some games and watch football and all kinds of things like this. And so it can be challenging when I'm up at the front and trying to teach, and I can't really see their screens. And so they're kind of off task and doing their own thing. And I used to have a program that I paid for a long time ago. I don't know if I can say the name of it.
Say whatever one time.
Okay.
That's fine.
It was Land School, and it worked pretty well, and I used it quite often. But this year we upgraded to Windows 11. And I had a perpetual license for it. Land School has now gone to subscription-based. And so I tried to install that perpetual license on the Windows 11 machine. It just didn't work. So I am quite literally in the dark in that I can't really see what's going on with my students without literally walking around to the back of my
Of course.
class.
And then they're hitting some keys real fast, like, oh, look, I'm doing exactly what you want me to do. Let me ask you a question. So how are you handling smartphones in the classroom?
Basically, they're not allowed.
Okay.
And that I tend to be able to catch a little easier because they're usually hiding it under their desk, and I can kind of see them looking down past their computer. And, so I have a little bit of inkling on that.
Well, I was just curious from a parental standpoint. Now, when the kids get to the classroom, do they have to put them in a cell phone box or anything like that?
Some teachers do that. I just have them keep them away. And if I see it, I take it. And I'm pretty strict on that. And after the first 3 or 4 of them in the class see me do that, they get the message, and I don't have too big of a problem.
Scott is not putting up with your junk, okay? Let me just tell you, it's not happening. Well, you have some options. One I think is going to be absolutely perfect for you. It's called Virtual Ion Networks. That's VEYON, Virtual Ion Networks. What you're going to love about
I've seen that.
Okay, what I love about it is that it works. It's been around for a long time, and it's free. It's open source, which means you have a lot of support that goes along with it. But you could take a look at all the student screens. You could actually take full control. Wouldn't that be funny? Okay. They're
Right. And that's what the other one let me do.
Yeah.
I could take control of it. I could lock it. I could text message them and say, hey, get on task.
Yes. So you could, what you could do is be kind of funny is that if somebody's watching football, is that you minimize that screen and you put up like Barney. And it's like, you want me to treat you like a baby? I'll treat you like a baby. It's totally up to you. I love you. Yeah. You love me. And then also you can share your screen if you want to show everybody how to do one thing. You can shut down the computers. You can log them off. I mean, it's been out there for a long time. So the website, it's VEYON.io, Virtual Ion Networks. If that one doesn't suit your fancy, there's also another free one called Light Manager. And not so much made for students, but it does work. It's litemanager.com, Light Manager. And of course, I have to tell you this side of the story is that, of course, there's always privacy laws. I know you were going to, think about that. I don't know how it works in the state of Florida, but, if you're in California, I'm sure everybody in California would be like, oh no, we can't do that. But anyway.
These are school computers, so they belong to us. So that's not really an
so it's not an issue. I just want to throw it out there. It's in case you want to look it up, just in case. It's the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. Yes. I know. By the way, these programs are also good if you are ever like in a work environment. not just a school environment. So in case you want to check it out again, it's Virtual Ion Networks, or you want to take a look at Light Manager Free. Scott, thank you for your call today. I don't know about you, but I would not want to be a teacher nowadays. Ooh, scary. Angie in Tacoma, Washington. Hi there, Angie.
You have made my day.
Okay, well, let me tell you something. First of all, that accent is not from Tacoma, Washington. I know that.
No, you're right. I'm a displaced Georgian.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
I can't hide it.
So what's on your mind today?
Okay, well, Kim, I bought a CD for Quicken because I wanted to upgrade what I've been using forever. And I found out that in order to access the information I have on my laptop, I have to go online and register. Now, I have the laptop that I have is solely designated for my Quicken. That's the only thing that's on it. It's never been online. I don't want to go online with it. And now I can't access any of my Quicken information until I go online and register. So I'm hijacked.
Yeah. Well, like a lot of companies, they're going into software as a service. And I know that's no consolation for you, but, the whole world's moving online, and this way they can have it backed up, but also they can start charging monthly fees and incremental fees and make more money down the road instead of just people buying a software disk and then using the same program for 5-10 years. They can make more money in the long run. So if you're looking for a program like Quicken that you can use off the internet, that's not going to ask you to connect to the internet, the first one is GNU Cache. Don't worry about writing these down. We'll send you links. It's an open source accounting software. That means it's absolutely free, and it has a lot of the same features as Quicken. As a matter of fact, it will import your Quicken files too. Now, if you're looking for something that allows you to really get as close to Quicken as you can, there's a program called MoneyDance, and it costs $50. And again, another one that doesn't connect to the internet. And if you're just looking for a personal finance manager, track expenses, budgets, there's Ace MoneyLight. So probably, in order, I'd look at, for you, take a look at GNU Cache and then MoneyDance. I don't think this Ace MoneyLight is probably going to be for you, but you just might want to take a little peek at it. And then, what you can do, what I'd like you to do, Angie, is maybe a couple of months from now or a month from now, just call me back. And I'd like to know which one that you picked, and then what kind of obstacles that you ran into and how you fixed it. But if you need any other help, just know I'm always, always right here for you. I mean, I love to help people. This is my life calling. And again, it's GNU Cache or MoneyDance. And Angie, thanks for your call. Y'all, that was my attempt at being from Georgia, but I'm not. I'm from New Jersey. Hey, just a quick reminder, you can always drop me your questions right on the website. Go to commando.com and hit that link at the top that says Ask Kim. Okay, check fraud has doubled within the last year, and people might be writing fewer checks, but the amount of the checks have actually increased. The current average check clocks in at over $2,600. So that's why criminals are going through mailboxes to steal the mail and get your identity. And they're targeting envelopes that look like checks that are being mailed to pay a bill or something like that. So you have to play it safe. If you do need to write a check, use a security pad known as a check washing pad. They have specially formulated ink that gets trapped in the paper. It makes it hard for criminals to wash or erase those numbers. You want to monitor your accounts, of course, and be proactive. But if you can start paying your bills online, that is the very, very best way. Hey, listen, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. And don't forget, you can enter to win that brand new iPhone 16 right now at winfromkim.com. That's winfromkim.com.
Thanks for listening to the Kim Commando Show. Here's Hour 4.
I always like to kick things off with something fun and interesting. And this one, oh man, you're not going to believe it. A library in Michigan had to shut down after an unexpected invasion. Yes, the Royal Public Library says the culprit was bugs. Yeah, stowed away in a DVD case. After being dropped off in the book return, they just went all over. So one unlucky employee opened it up and they found multiple species of creepy crawlies in this DVD case, mostly cockroaches. Makes you wonder, what was the movie's title? Maybe it was A Bug's Life? Yeah, But I think the culprit was Snoop Dogg because let me tell you, he's been dealing with a lot of roaches over the years. Yes, on that happy note, buckle up, Buttercup, because everything we're covering today is tech related. And I'm here to help you stay ahead of the game because I don't want you to be left behind in this fast moving digital universe. After all, I'm Kim Commando, America's digital goddess, here with you once again. You just tapped into the biggest show, the best show, the most trusted show about all things digital. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top radio stations throughout the United States. And we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Commando, with a K, of course. And you can also find the Kim Commando Show as a podcast in your favorite podcast player. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 U.S. service members. We salute each and every one of you. And let me tell you, great sponsors help to make this show possible. And I always negotiate these fabulous deals for you guys and gals. And to get all the links that you need, just go to commando.com/sponsors. That's commando.com/sponsors. Alrighty then, every single day, let me tell you, I just dive into over 35 different sources to bring you the must-know tech insights so that this way you can stay ahead. So let's jump into the top 5 tech changes that you need to know about right now. And we're going to start with sextortion scams. They are just growing. And that sextortion email that you receive right now may be more realistic and frightening than ever before. And let me tell you, the word sextortion, it's been around even before the internet. I want you to go back in time to the days of the Polaroid cameras. Yes, and then many years ago, when computers were primarily kept in bedrooms, hackers would send emails claiming to be, I just turned on your computer's camera and I catched you undressing or worse. Well, now it's gotten a little bit trickier because, like, for example, a team member here at the Kim Commando Show received an email saying that the scammer activated our associate's webcam and recorded him, oh my gosh, watching porn. But of course, $2,000 in Bitcoins would just make it all go away. And the hacker even had a photo of our studios. And let me tell you, it's not hard to trace the real address of an IP number. But what the hacker didn't have was a photo of our associate because they never do. It's never real. So do not fall for these sextortion scams. All right, moving on to number 2. I have told you guys and gals for so many years, do not do anything with 23andMe. Yes, they've been around for about 18 years selling genetic testing. Most of it was used for fun, right? Tracing down ancestors, but there's actually a nightmarish side to 23andMe. You might remember it was hacked last year. Names and addresses, genetic information of 7 million people were stolen, many of whom were Jewish and Chinese heritage. It took 23andMe 5 months to realize that it was even hacked. Oh my gosh. And they found out only when the hackers began advertising the stolen data for sale on the dark web. Isn't that ridiculous? Okay. The repercussions of playing fast and loose with DNA and data, all 7 independent directors resigned this past week from 23andMe's board. Wow. The stock price, 34 cents a share. Whew. All right, moving on to number 3. One of the tried and true ways that the mob made its money was by protection. Pay them and maybe you wouldn't get beaten up. The protection racket worked out so well that now every automaker from Detroit to Tokyo is getting in the act. Let me back up. All new cars come equipped with what's called an ACN, okay, automatic crash notification. What this means that if there's an accident, emergency services are called automatically. Acura, Audi, BMW, Ford, Honda, Jaguar, Lincoln, and a few others provide this service for the life of the car for free, as they should. But Mercedes, Toyota, Volkswagen, Chrysler, Dodge, Infiniti, Nissan, and GM cars will give you a free trial. But then to keep this life-saving service, you have to pay or they're just going to shut it off. And by the way, car manufacturers are also trying to eliminate AM radios from new cars too. So ask all kinds of questions you can before you actually buy the car. All right, number 4, school's already in session. And while your kids already head first into their classes, there's one thing that can't be overlooked. I'm talking about smartphones. Okay. Social media is toxic. It's addictive to our kids. These social media companies exploit our children. And we know for a fact that kids develop anxiety, depression, harassment, and bullying as a direct result of social media. And they see a normalization of improper sexual behavior because everything's going on. Talking about substance abuse. I'm just scratching the surface. Now, the reason why I bring this up, in England, there's a grassroots movement called Parents for a Smartphone-Free Childhood. It's helping parents support each other by delaying giving smartphones to their kids younger than 16. Instead, they say, you know what, let's give the kids dumb phones, basic cell phones that make and receive calls and texts, but do not expose the kids to social media evils. It's actually a fabulous idea. You need to give it some thought. And finally, this coming in number 5, when is the best time to buy a brand new iPhone 16? Okay. Well, here's the deal. If you're using an iPhone 14 or 15, let me tell you, there's nothing earth-shaking about this new phone. At least until all the AI software arrives in the next, as long as 6 months. Then it will be a different story. But if your iPhone is more than 3 years old, you definitely will see a big improvement jumping to the iPhone 16. So when is the time to buy? The best trade-in deals are being offered right now. If you miss this window, wait until the run-up to Black Friday when the deals again shift into high gear. And remember, the smaller cell companies cannot offer you the best deals that you're going to find at the big 3 providers. Oh, and here's a joke that you can tell the kids. Are you ready? What do you call an iPhone that isn't kidding around? Okay, what do you call an iPhone that isn't kidding around? Anyone? Dead serious? Oh, yeah, that was a good one. All right, still to come. Oh, I have a story about an Apple AirTag you're not going to want to miss. And there's some new details about some SIM swapping scams. What's going on with free shipping? How to play hardball with streaming services, because let's just face it, boy, those costs are just going up and up, right? Man. And we just have the best callers in the history of talk radio. And you have me, Kim Komando, so stay right where you are. Hey, there's still time where you can enter to win a brand new iPhone 16. Here's where you need to go. winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. No purchase required, by the way. I want you to be the coolest kid on the block and have a brand new iPhone 16, just like the one that I carry. Once again, you want to go to winfromkim.com, winfromkim.com. All right, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had the feeling that something or someone is actually watching you? All right, the truth is that these spy devices, they come in all different shapes and sizes, and they're so small nowadays, the tech is there, that you wouldn't even know that they even exist. Well, this gal by the name of Dakota Williams, she knows this all too well. While leasing an apartment in Colorado Springs, Colorado, she noticed something odd in her bedroom. There wasn't just one smoke detector, there were 2 smoke detectors. And then so she decided to check them out. And joining us here on the Kim Komando Show is Dakota herself. And thanks for being here. So set the scene for us, Dakota. What were you doing when you looked up and you saw the 2 smoke detectors?
I was actually talking to my best friend. I had actually been receiving quite a few messages from the boyfriend of my landlord at that time who also lived there. And I was receiving those messages, and I called her that night, and I was crying to her because it started to seem a little more than friendly. Okay. And so then I was on the phone with her, and I actually texted her that I felt like I should look for hidden cameras. And that is when I realized that there were actually 2 smoke detectors in the room, one directly above my bed.
Oh, that's creepy. So what do you mean by it was like getting too familiar?
Yeah, so he had messaged me on Facebook the first day I moved in, giving me his phone number, which is perfectly normal. Roommates should have each other's phone numbers. But then as I gave him mine back, he immediately moved the conversation directly to Snapchat. And from there, the conversations, nothing out of the ordinary. He didn't say anything too weird, but the frequency of the messages was growing and growing. And it just felt like he was coming up with just random excuses to talk to me a little too much. Okay, so wait a minute. So you said that this was the landlord's son, and then it was your roommate, or what? The landlord's boyfriend, and I lived with both of them. Yep. Oh, okay. Oh, that's horrible. Yes. Yeah. So what were the differences between the 2 smoke detectors?
Or were or did they look exactly the same?
I mean, they looked a bit different, of course. There wasn't anything too alarming about the other one, except that it was directly above my bed, and it was also directly by an air vent. And I read online that they aren't supposed to be by air vents because that messes with how they detect smoke. And so I thought that was a little strange. And then I ended up looking up how to find hidden cameras, and I was able to shine a flashlight into it. And the little black part, which is commonly on smoke detectors, reflected back like a camera lens.
Oh, that must have been heart-wrenching, especially it's right above your bed. Yuck.
Oh, definitely.
So what did you do next? Did you call the cops?
Yeah, so I ended up going to the bathroom in hopes that he couldn't hear me from there, which in fact there ended up being a second smoke detector in there as well.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, but I ended up calling my friend that was local so that I could just get out of the house because they were both home when I discovered this. And from there, I was going to call the cops once I got to her house. So then I went out of the bathroom and he was standing right on the stairs waiting.
Oh, and then what happened?
Yeah, so I made sure I stayed on the phone with someone because I was not going to risk being alone with him. So I was on the phone, I was stuttering, I wasn't being super sly, but I was just saying something about how I needed to go to the store and get medicine, just trying to get out because I just had the feeling he knew that I knew. And from there, he ended up standing in my bedroom doorway because their dog followed me into my bedroom, and he asked if he could come in and get the dog. And so I let him, I grabbed the car keys, and I got out as fast as I could.
Oh, I bet. Bet you were so relieved when you could get out of that place. Dang.
Definitely, yeah.
And then what did the police say?
Yeah, so I called them that night, but by that time it was around midnight. And so the last thing I wanted to do was go back to the house. So we decided to have them come the next morning when my stepdad was going to come and help me move out. And so from there, I called my parents, let them know what happened. We agreed that we would just have my stepdad come down the next morning, help me move out, and get the cops there from there because I had the pictures of the smoke detector.
And then were you able to identify where the videos were being stored?
So the smoke detector itself has a USB, a little USB port. Mm-hmm. And so they were being stored on a little USB drive, I believe, as they were being recorded. Unfortunately, that was never able to be recovered, so I was never able to have that piece.
Wow. I mean, that would be something, definitely want to get a hold on those because you never know where they might end up, right?
Yeah, of course.
And then what happened with the police? And did you press charges or anything like that?
Yeah, so the next day we moved out and the smoke detectors were all changed back to normal smoke detectors. And my stepdad helped me move out, but him and his girlfriend agreed to let the cops look through their phones. And they went and stayed in a hotel for the night, claiming they were scared of my stepdad and I. And so that's where the cops met them to look through their cell phone. And everything looked good. The cops almost gave up looking, except in his search history, they ended up seeing the exact hidden camera smoke detector that was in my picture.
So then he got busted. Yeah. There it was.
He did. Yep, and he had to admit it. He did end up getting charged with criminal invasion of privacy. He had to register as a sex offender. And I do believe he is in the military. He's a major in the Space Force. So there are some military repercussions that'll happen as well.
So you learned quite a few valuable lessons, right, Dakota?
Yes, definitely.
What do you think the number one is? Obviously, look for hidden cameras wherever you're renting.
Definitely, yeah. And just be careful who you trust. When I first moved in, she said, we're both in the military, we're safe, and tried to make me feel very safe and comfortable. And just to do your research and make sure you know who you're living with and just be alert. And if you have a gut feeling, just to really make sure that you trust that.
Did you have a gut feeling?
I did, yeah. That's why I did end up texting my best friend that it wasn't anything too alarming besides him messaging me a lot. And it was just something in me saying, look for hidden cameras.
Because that is something that I always tell people when, they call in, how do I find these? Of course, you can get an RF detector and you can shine a light into the lens. And then, like you said, it will reflect back to you. But a lot of that is just, you just get this creepy feeling on the inside, like something's wrong. It doesn't mean that you're being paranoid. It just means that you need to check things out.
Completely. Yeah. I said it as more of a ha-ha kind of not super serious comment when I texted it to her, but it became very real very quickly.
Well, Dakota, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I bet we just helped a lot of people out.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. I know it and you know it. Okay. The cost of streaming video is just totally out of control. I mean, just 5-6 years ago, Netflix, Disney Plus, and Hulu with live TV would cost you about $56 a month. Okay. How much do you think that costs right now? Okay, make a guess. Just make a guess. Say it out loud. Okay, 5-6 years ago, it was $56 a month. How much is that today? Okay, today, the identical subscriptions cost around $110 a month. Wow, just double. All right, if you can put up with a few commercials, you'll pay less each month. Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon are $3 to $5 a month cheaper with ads. You can also be a serial subscriber. Like, say a show that you really love is going to be on a particular service for, let's say, 13 weeks. You subscribe just for that time, and then you go in and cancel. You can go back when the show returns. So look at your bill for packages that you don't watch, too, because that's really a catch. Maybe you're not a sports fan, so you can cancel that and save some money. And by all means, always put up an outside antenna. You may be able to get some of the shows you want in HD without paying a dime. All right, still to come, SIM swapping scams are spreading like wildfire. And I've got the details here on the Kim Komando Show. Okay, I have a reason why you need to put an Apple AirTag, or if you're on Team Android, you can use a Tile tracker or a Live 360 tracker into your car. This is an unbelievable story. It truly is. And then later on, I don't know if you've heard about SIM swapping scams. That's where somebody can totally take over your phone number and then pretend to be you and get your two-factor authentication codes and your passwords and everything like that. So I've got an update to some new scams that are spreading that you need to know about. And of course, we have your phone calls. But before we get to all of that, since online shopping has become just all of our favorite pastime, we have become spoiled by convenience. And part of that is about to disappear forever. You see, online retailers are just fed up with folks who order just tons of things, especially clothing, get free shipping, and then return most, if not all, of the order. And I'm going to raise my hand because I have done that recently. Now, one story making the rounds is a woman who bought and returned more than $15,000 of clothing that she purchased at Saks Fifth Avenue. Wow. Another is an Urban Outfitters customer who's bought and returned one outfit a week since high school. Oh, gosh. Wow. In both cases, the store says, you know what, we don't even want you as customers. Okay. Amazon is known to cancel customer accounts too. Now, they don't exactly say what you need to do, but the general thought is that if you return 10% of everything that you purchase on Amazon.com, you're going to get a letter from them. So basically, abuse it and you're going to lose it. All right, back to the phone calls we go. Let's see, Neil in Reno, Nevada. Hi there, Neil.
Well, I have an older MacBook Air from 2012, and it's up to date and everything like that. I have an annual subscription to Microsoft Word for Mac that I use.
Okay.
And I wrote a novel. It didn't get published, but it was back in 1994. And I wanted to go and revisit those files and edit them and do something with them. So I opened it up on I put the thumb drive in my computer, and those files will not open up. And I get a message saying it's locked because they were created with an older version of Microsoft Word. So I'm trying to figure out how to open these. Are they just gone?
No, we can't have anything gone, right? This is your novel.
I know it.
Right?
Thank you.
I mean, we have to, you could just pop this novel right up on a Kindle right now, right? And maybe you're making some money, and then somebody's going to call you, Neil, and they're going to say, we want to turn this into a movie, and we want you to be the producer because it's such a great book. What do you think?
Well, I would be happy just to open it, right? And then that would be my first step. If I could do that, I'd just be so excited because I thought, oh no, this is just gone. But then I'm a listener. I listen all the time, And I thought, you will know the answer.
Well, here's the deal. There are some places where you can go online, like Zamzar and Cloud Convert, that you can upload a file, and then it will try to convert it into a newer file.
Okay.
You can also use open source software. So we're going to get rid of Microsoft Wordland, and we're going to go use, say, LibreOffice or OpenOffice. A lot of times these older file formats can be opened by open source because they've been around forever. And unlike maybe a big Microsoft company that says, we're not going to support that old file format anymore because we don't want to have to do all the updates and stuff like that. People at open source like, yeah, but I think this will kind of work for us. You may also be able to find, I don't know if you remember, but before we all went online, there used to be Microsoft Word Viewer, and that was for people who didn't have Microsoft Word, but they still wanted to look at Word documents. So you may be able to find that. But really, I think your best bet is to try a site that does online conversions on the fly, like Zamzar and Cloud Convert. And then second step, if that doesn't work, we're going to look at LibreOffice and OpenOffice. And the third step is if none of that works, Neil, you need to call me back, and we're going to go to the next level. All right?
What it does tell me is you try to open it with, and it said on Apple text edit. And although it will open it, it's very garbled looking.
Oh, yes.
It's like very fragmented, and I thought that doesn't look like a Word document.
Well, also you have like all the funky characters and
that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, and you're like, where did that star and square come from? And the ... And that's because it just doesn't know what to do with it because it's a little bit older, like most of us are getting as time goes on. And we have to be able to use the right tools. So Neil, give those a shot. And if for some reason it doesn't work, just give me a call back. I'm always here for you. All right. Anyone who has ever had a car stolen sits back and says, was it sold for parts? Where did it go? What happened to my car? So for this story, let's go to Toronto, Canada. That's where car owner Andrew had his SUV stolen right from his driveway. Okay, good news. Andrew is smart. He had an Apple AirTag inside it. He tracked where his SUV went through his Apple Find My app. First, the SUV was taken to a nearby rail yard. Then it went to the Port of Montreal. After that, the AirTag just went offline. And Andrew's like, oh my gosh, am I out of luck? What's going on? Maybe it ran out of juice. Maybe the battery's dead. Well, 5 days later, the SUV's AirTag suddenly went online again. Where was it? About 7,000 miles away in a used car lot for sale in the United Arab Emirates. So here's what everyone needs to do right now. If you're on Team Apple, I want you to go get an AirTag. Team Android, want a tile tracker, just pop it in the engine bay with some Gorilla duct tape. Now you know where your car is located always. All right, still to come, we have your phone calls as well as later on. Wow, SIM swapping scams are getting crazy. You need to know about this here on the Kim Komando Show. Hey, let me tell you, if you're just too shy to give me a call on a big-time radio show and big-time podcast, here's the deal, is that I always want to help you out, and I want to hear your questions. And I know I'm all over social media like you are, and you want to leave me questions in the comments and DMs there, but what I really want you to do is go to one place. You can go to komando.com, and then there's a link at the top that says Ask Kim. And then we also started something new. You can send me a voice memo. That's right. Just record a voice memo on your phone, and then you can send that to me at podcasts@komando.com. Once again, that's podcast with an S, podcasts@komando.com. If you don't know how to record a voice memo, we've got the steps over at komando.com. Just go ahead and search for voice memo in the search box, which, by the way, it works now. Yes, thank you. It was broken, but now it's all better. Once again, to send me that voice memo, podcasts@komando.com. All right, Wendy in Illinois, glad to have you with us.
Hi, good afternoon.
Welcome.
My question for you is, I am 69 years old and I really would like to retire, but I'm still working. I work part-time and I want to see if you can recommend some websites where I could go apply for some jobs that I could, like typing jobs that I could do remotely from home so I don't have to go into an office every day.
Oh, I see. Okay. What are you doing now?
I work, I've been an administrative assistant my whole career.
Okay.
And that's what I'm doing now.
Okay. Well, there are certainly so many different places that you can get a remote position. They always post the remote jobs that say ZipRecruiter, LinkedIn, and Indeed.
Yeah.
But you just always have to be careful, make sure it's legit.
I know, that's the problem I've been having. A lot of them don't sound like they're up and up.
Yeah, I know. And you're going to find this on just about any job posting site, really. But if you're looking for a remote, there's a company called We Work Remotely. That's a website, not a company. It's a site called We Work Remotely. Also, remote.co. I've heard some good things from. And then finally, there's another site that, because you've been an administrative assistant, you might want to look at. It's called Angel List. And that's really for positions with startup companies. So, so here's the deal. Wherever you go, whatever job that you look at, you have to be really, really smart. Okay. You want to make sure that you watch out for any red flag, anything that says, so they all of a sudden, like, you apply and they say, oh, you're hired. You're like, well, you didn't even talk to me. And then then what they say is like, oh, well, we need you to use a special computer. So we're going to send you $2,000 to buy a brand new Windows computer so you can work for us. And you're like, oh, that sounds really great. Okay. Then they send you a check for $4,000. And you're like, oh, you sent me too much. Like, oh, no. You know what? Just deposit that in your bank and then send us the difference. You see where I'm going?
Man. Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the sites have been like that. It's like, I don't know. And sometimes you can tell when they're emailing you back and their English isn't so good and their spelling isn't so good. So it's not legit.
And so you're smart. I mean, always verify the job postings. Take a look at, multiple sources. If you can apply directly through the company's official career pages, that's always your best bet. Always your best bet.
Okay.
So
that's good to know.
So instead of just going through email, because I'll tell you, not too long ago, there were fake job postings for podcast editors for my company.
Okay.
And
for your company.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. We didn't put them up. And all of a sudden, I'm getting emails from people saying, I applied for the job for the podcasting editor, and I passed all the tests, and now, when can I start? And I'm like, what is that about? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why it sounds kind of crazy, but I want you to make sure that you just verify everything along the way, because, I don't want you to get taken. And really, always trust your gut. If it feels off, it's probably off. Let's see. We have time for another phone call. Timothy in Miramar Beach, Florida. Hi, Tim.
Hello, Kim. I am really in awe just talking to you. You seem to know so much about everything. I don't know when you have time to do other things other than just read and research.
That would be about it. Okay.
So I'm going to try to test you here with a question that I haven't heard asked before.
Okay.
I live in a gated neighborhood, and our HOA gets very uptight if we leave the garage door open overnight. And I know I shouldn't do that. Now, during the day, the garage door is sometimes open, it's sometimes closed, and I always check it at night before I go to bed. However, I don't always check it at night before I go to bed, and so I've been getting some complaints. I was trying to figure out a way, to notify me when the garage door is open at bedtime. And the only thing that I could come up with is if I could find some sensor or something that tells me the garage door is open and have that connected to a light in my bedroom, so I wouldn't be able to go to bed with the garage door open. I've tried every other reminder system I know, and I can't figure it out.
You're so funny. Well, with your garage door, there's something called Chamberlain MyQ. I actually have that on our garage doors, and it's a smart garage door system. And you can set it up so that the garage door closes automatically on a schedule. You can set it up that it could work with a light, as you mentioned, in your bedroom. And so if the garage door is open and if it's after 9 p.m., the light's going to turn on, and then some voice is going to come out and say, come on, Tim, what are you doing? You know better than this. Unless you want somebody in bed with you with a gun, I don't think you would want that. So we need to be smarter, right?
Oh, my. Yes, better than a letter from the HOA.
HOAs can be so annoying. It can be so annoying. I mean, I remember once, I'll tell you a story. Once my mom was living with me, and I had the next door neighbor from hell. Okay. She was not nice. She was not a good person. She just wasn't a happy person. And so it wasn't the garage door. It was the garbage can. So if I left the garbage can out, is that I would get a $25 fine. Okay. And so my mother and I are getting ready to leave the house. I open the garage door and I see my garbage can like staring at me in the street, right? And I look over and I see my neighbor by her front door just like glaring at me, thinking like, is she going to put the garage door? I mean, is she going to put the can away or not? Am I going to report her or not? I mean, I could tell that was going on in her head. So I looked at my mom and my mom's like, come on, we got to go, hurry up. And I said, wait, Mom. And I said this really loudly so my neighbor could hear me. I said, wait, Mom, before we can leave, I better put my garbage can away or else my friendly neighbor is going to turn me into the HOA police and I'm going to get a $25 fine. Okay. And then my mother says to me, and my mother walks out in the driveway and she's pointing her finger at my face. That's when you know it's serious. She's pointing her finger at my face. And she says, just because she's an a-hole doesn't mean you can't be a good Christian. And I laughed like crazy. I thought that was the funniest line.
That is funny.
So anyway, you're going to get the Chamberlain Smart Q garage door. Smart garage door. And you're going to hook that up, piece of cake. You're going to, if you want a light, Philips Hue, which has the most range. Then you're going to set it up. You can set it up to have the garage door sensor talk to the smart light in using like Amazon Alexa, Samsung Smart Things. And so, and then this automation. There's also something called IFTTT. IFTTT. Just write that down. IFTTT. And that's where you can create like a little like set of instructions that will connect the garage door sensor to the open state. It'll turn on the smart light. Then that tells you to get your butt up and go close the garage door. Or, like I said, you can just use this whole Chamberlain thing to just put it on a schedule, and then you don't have to worry about anything. So does that help you out?
That sounds great. Thanks.
All right. You can sound a little bit more enthusiastic, Tim.
That sounds super.
Excellent.
Great.
See, I knew you had it in you. You're like, oh, wow, thanks, Kim. I'm like, come on. I mean, this is great stuff here. This is pretty awesome. I mean, where else are you going to go for all this fun stuff? Tim, thank you for your call today. Oh, speaking of garage doors, let me tell you, I pulled into my driveway and someone had painted a large number 3 right on it. I thought to myself, wow, that's odd. Oh, ouch. That really hurt me too. Hey, imagine this. You're checking your phone and suddenly you have no bars. It just stops working. You can't make a phone call. You can't receive a phone call. So in a panic, you grab a landline or somebody else's phone and you call your carrier. Then comes the shock. Your phone number was moved to a brand new phone, but you didn't get a new phone. That's what's called SIM swapping. What happens is scammers get your name and maybe some other personal details up to and including your phone number. Then they sweet talk your carrier to switch your number right to their phone. And when that happens, they have total control. I mean, think about this. With access to your text messages, they can just easily bypass two-factor authentication to what? Get into your bank account, your crypto account, whatever it may be that is on your phone. So do not let this happen to you. Here's what you need to do. Call your phone carrier and set up a unique passcode that must be used for any changes to your account. And then keep an eye on your bank account, your credit accounts for any unusual activities too. And if something feels off, you need to report it immediately. But again, make sure that you set up that unique passcode that must be used for any changes on your account. Hey, there's still time to enter to win a brand new iPhone 16. Head to winfromkim.com.